She went from tank salesgirl to Versace model in Milan. She was a model reject who became the first Asian to be signed by New York-based Ford Models. And she was a student who fought objection from a journalist's father to become a model and eventually proved herself by modeling for Givenchy in Milan. No doubt they've all retired from the catwalk, but these women had their heyday in the modeling world in the 1980s after signing with Carrie Models. RazorTV catches up with them at Carrie's 35th anniversary party recently and gets them to recall their glory days. She didn't consider herself beautiful and constantly faced rejection.
I was not a typical, what they call the Chinese beauty. I was very gawky. And I had pigeon feet. Okay, I had thick lips. I had big mouth. I don't have that delicate nose with the delicate lips. I was different.
But her mentors at Carrie Models kept pushing her on, and Ethel Fong eventually made it big not just in Singapore, but also on the international circuit.
The highlight would be when I walk into the Giorgio Armani office in Milan, and the next day he signed me up for his campaign. So I was the campaign model for Giorgio Armani. Way before Armani, I walked into Ford agency, and I was the first Asian model they signed up. Yeah. So it was all very exciting. I mean, modeling has changed my life, has brought my husband, and we are still happily married after 25 years.
How did you meet your husband through modeling?
He actually saw me in the Armani campaign, and he tore the page out, and he said, if I find this girl, I'll marry her. And he found me 6 months later.
Now the self-dubbed Kampong girl from Pasir Panjang stays in France with her husband and her 2 children. Coincidentally, former Carrie model Pat Kraal is also residing in France with a French businessman husband and 4 children. She had a late start in modeling at 19, but she shot to fame after joining Carrie's here and continued to shine in Paris and Milan.
I did a lot for Givenchy and Jean-Louis Charin. You get to work with all the top models like Iman and all that. I don't know if you know her, Iman. It was way before she married David Bowie. So, voilà. I met so many famous models. The most famous is Audrey Schiffer, yeah.
And the one that left the deepest impression?
When I was fitting at Givenchy, I actually shook hands with Audrey Hepburn. And that was for me, it was like something else.
Pat retired after having her first child in 1993 and remains a full-time mom today. One woman who has stayed on in the modeling world, however, is Ivy Chng, who owes her big break in 1986 to Dick Lee.
It's not really my dream. I never thought I'd become a model. It was Dick Lee who approached me while I was working at Tanks, and she said, hey, look, you should be a model. Dick Lee, come on, he's so famous by then. So I was like, why not? I'll give a shot. I never think that I can go to Milan to model and end up in Hong Kong, living in Hong Kong now. Yeah.
At her peak, Ivy modeled for labels like Missoni and Versace in Milan. She retired from the catwalk in 1999, but continued working at Carrie Models as a model booker in Hong Kong, and some of her family members too have joined the modeling circle, including her niece, current it girl Sheila Sim. So what does Ivy think is the biggest difference in modeling then and now?
Because I believe before, as a showgirl, I'm talking about showgirls, okay, we must really go through a training, a tough training, okay. Walk is very important, and you must know a lot of technique, how to do on the stage things. The choreography back then was more difficult. But today is very different. It's just straight walk and very easy.
Really? Well, we'll find out more from current supermodel Amber Shi from China in our next clip.